मैंने बहुत कोशिश की डॉक्टर भटकर को यहाँ बुलाने के लिए, और वो IIT दिल्ली की चेयरमैन भी हैं, बोर्ड ऑफ गवर्नेंस की, और बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की चेयरमैन। और सर, आप एक लेवल तक पहुंचने के बाद आप गिन नहीं सकते आप किसकी चेयरमैन और किसकी नहीं है। He is that kind of stalwart. And कुछ दिन पहले मैंने एक कॉलेज में एक ट्रस्टी साहब थे, उनके साथ बात कर रहा था। मुझे बोले मैं कंप्यूटर 200 मंगाना चाहता हूँ, लैपटॉप। तो मैंने बोला कहाँ से मंगाना चाहते? वो बोले यार इंडिया में मंगाएंगे और यूएसए से मंगाएंगे, तो यूएसए से मंगाएंगे तो कम से कम 6000 तक कम होगा। हमने बोला कैसे? क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली शी इज सक्सेशन पॉलिसी, उनके पास इनोवेशन होता है। वन ऑफ हिज कॉलीग सजेस्टेड हिम कि यार तुम तो यूएसए से मंगाओ यार, सस्ते में मिलेगा और जल्दी मिलेगा, रिलायबल मिलेगा। बट कैन यू इमेजिन जेंटलमैन, कैन यू इमेजिन डॉक्टर भटकर साहब को जब बोला गया था कि देश में सीडैक बनाओ, तब की हालत बताता हूं। तब उनको 30 करोड़ था, 30 करोड़ was the 37 करोड़ 37 करोड़ दी गई, बोला गया 3 साल में करना है तो कर लो भाई। If can India really pick up in 3 years 37 crore 80s, these people asked, भारत सरकार ने बोला। और आपको हैरान होगी जान के कि ये पैरामीटर कैसे फिक्स किया गया 3 साल और 37 करोड़, क्योंकि तब एक सुपर कंप्यूटर को यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में लाने के लिए 3 साल लगता था और खर्चा 30 करोड़ का था। तो हमारी सरकार सोचा इनोवेशन करते, इनके सिलेंडर मिल गए, और कैन यू बिलीव दे डिलीवर फॉर अराउंड 8091 at the time in less time than it could have been taken if a computer could have been imported. 3 years. In 3 years, 93 I guess, they released this thing, and can you believe in 30 crore, which cost just a supercomputer, they gave an intellectual property to this nation. They could really make it something iconic. Can you imagine just a couple of decades back, he could really bring in how much pedagogically they have been imprinting. And when he came to IIM for a program with the scientists last year, he used to say, for a couple of months, none of the scientists got salary, but still, these people stuck to the point, made it happen. In 3 years, in 30 crore, they could deliver it. But the game was not just fun. He is leading now a lot of organization. But 1 week back, when I saw a Times of India article that these people, the organization that they created, the institutional innovation that they set together, 8 तारीख को अभी फरवरी, उन्होंने परम युवा 2 CDAC created Param Yuva 2, which is 62nd fastest supercomputer in the world. अगर ये सीड तब नहीं हो जाती तो इस कंडीशन में नहीं होते। भटकर साहब बताते थे कि जब इन्होंने बोला कि हमने बना दिया, फिर भी लोग बोलते थे कैसे बना पाए। When they used to really get, I think you mentioned that till one Russian newspaper or somebody didn't mention that India has the second best supercomputer in 80s, 90s, just behind the United States. Till then, this country never believed, oh, we can do. This is the power of this country. Second best after the United States, forget about. And how much cost of the research was? Cost of one computer which you can import from a country outside. Cray computer systems. आपको सुनकर हैरानी होगी, जिस सुपर कंप्यूटर कंपनी ने, सिस्टम्स ने भारत को सुपर कंप्यूटर देने के लिए मना कर दिया था, इन्होंने सिर्फ उस कंपनी को ही नहीं, पूरे उस सोच को दबाया। और 95-96 Cray started operating from India. As far as I remember, United States had a team to study how is it happening, and really this was a learning point. I just may not appreciate as a reverse innovation, but the way a mind is mapped to a challenge which is specifically need for his country, for his location. One of the points that I wanted to mention here is, before you listen to him, if he could do it by involving a couple of young people, when they made this, when the CDAC made Param Yuva 2, they mentioned categorically that it took 3 months and around 17 crore rupees and a global nation of excellence. So thinking is local, diversity is local, efforts are local, but we are not merely waiting that we will be in the last few queues of the global parameters. The same thing, I'll just correlate with what we have done. If you see the number of patents that's been filed by your students by now, the number of technology transfer that has been appealed to us, and the number of stuff that has been done, nobody will believe that a university of 5-year-old can do it, but they made it. The difference was, nobody can believe, but you can make, and if you make, they will believe. So this was the pedagogy in lives. And Dr. Bhatkar, आपको लगता होगा कि बड़ी-बड़ी साइंटिस्ट बड़ी-बड़ी बातें सोचते होंगे, 24/7 this guy is working. Can you believe the amount of work that he has done for bringing technology to grassroots level? Bringing technology to grassroots level. It's commendable. Commendable because each of us sit here by the taxpayer money of the beggar who runs in the street of Naroda, Vatwa or whatsoever. You have a liability to give back. In this country, more than millions of people live their life below 20 rupees a day. And do you know what our National Disaster Management Policy says? We spend 30 rupees for disaster management per person. We can spend 30 rupees for disaster management of this country if something happens and you are letting hundreds of millions of people living in permanent disasters. If you do not intervene at this point, technological innovation, process innovation, pedagogical innovation, things will not happen. He has been chairman of a lot of organizations. As I told, he has got also the Padmashree award from Bharat Sarkar in 2000. He has been a lot of member of IEEE, SEM, the biggies of the world stages. We are thankful to have him here. By the way, he cancelled the finance committee meeting in the IT Daily to come here. We could manage that. Thanks for that. It was how this innovation happened, I think Madam knows. And this multi-varsity, university and all this stuff, can you believe? उन्होंने एक सोच रखी है. उनको यहाँ बुलाने के बहुत सारे मकसद हैं और बसंत पंचमी बुलाने और भी मकसद हैं. उन्होंने एक सोच रखी थी कि चलो टेक्नोलॉजी लाओ, ई-गवर्नेंस लाओ, फिर भी आप कहाँ दोगे जाके? डिलीवरी कैसे करोगे? आप वही बुलाओगे ना कि मेरे क्लासरूम पे आ जाओ, मैं आपको सिखाऊंगा. He has reversed. We will deliver content, we will deliver education. Can you create a freedom of information? Can you create a freedom of technology? Can you create a freedom of innovation at the doorstep? And gentlemen, this is nothing new. ये देश की परंपरा है. जो गुरुकुल की बात अपने ब्लॉग में बोलते हैं, I just was chasing his blog quite a days back. ऐसा ही सिस्टम इस देश में चलता है. आज की तारीख में Microsoft may fight with Linux for open source and all this. How we created all this stuff. सबसे पहले इस देश में ओपन सोर्स नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट की प्रथा था. अगर आपको पता होगा, चाणक्य, कबीर, रहीम, may it be तुलसीदास, they used to beg door to door and share the best possible knowledge that they could get from the society. Can you think of a better open source innovation, information and knowledge management than this? Waste thousands of your time. He is having that vision. Can you bring education, innovation to doorstep? आप लोगों को आज की तारीख में टेलीविजन थोड़ी सी मोटी हो तो पसंद नहीं आती होगी, थोड़ी सी मोटी होगी तो पसंद नहीं आती होगी. जब आदमी मोटा हो रहा है, टेलीविजन पतली हो जा रही है. जब पहली बार इन्होंने मदद करी, he is a big innovator. He has brought together innovation, investment and enterprises. He is mentoring so many technology startups that I am aware of. And in that context, these people could really thinking of, and I got a couple of information that like ISRO has a commercial wing for satellite launch. आप लोगों को बहुत लोगों को पता नहीं होगा, हमारे देश में हमारे लोगों में बहुत कैपेसिटी है, and we are trying to bring them up here. ISRO ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जो दुनिया की सब स्पेस कॉम्पिटिशन्स में आज तक टॉप 3 में अपना IRS विनर्स है. यहाँ भी होता है, आपके लोग करते हैं. They are now pioneering. How can bring in innovation to market in computer science sector? CDAC is doing that. A new generation thinking. It is not only a prototype that is going to be done. And he is last please that I can tell you. Why I am briefing all these things? Because when you will talk, you can call it. When you will talk, you can call it. Philosophy, technology, innovation. बहुत ही कम लोग होने लगे. हम तो Six Sigma में जीने वाले हैं. Feedback दे दो, output दे देंगे. How to bring philosophy? How to bring belief systems? How to bring technology into the ecosystems? I think I can't explain that. He's the right guy. I would like to welcome Dr. Vijay Bhatkar for his presentation. Thank you. Today is a this evening. It was a very auspicious evening. And there is an Indian tradition, of course, to begin an auspicious event, an auspicious sankalpa, with a prayer, with a worship. And I am extremely pleased that this function, which is in a way scientific and technological function event, began with a prayer to Saraswati. Saraswati is of course we all know, the goddess of knowledge. She is the goddess of 14 Vidyas and 64 Kalas. What are these Vidyas and what are these Kalas? I think we should look into our scriptures. But to me, in today's context, Saraswati, the Vagyavata, is the goddess of innovation. I think it's a great thing. It's also a wonderful signal, an auspicious signal that we began the celebration of innovation with the worship of goddess of innovation. Friends, today we are celebrating innovation, the knowledge of innovation, the practice of innovation, but more importantly, we are celebrating the gurus and teachers of innovation. So Guru Varya, Professor Akshay Agrawal, who began this movement, sir, I salute you for really, for one reason, that you remember 3rd of January this year, our Prime Minister announced a new policy of science, which was called Policy of Science, Technology and Innovation. The word innovation for the very first time appears in our policy. 1958, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru unfolded science policy. In 2003, we had Science and Technology Policy. And this year, we announced Science, Technology and Innovation Policy. This is very significant. And 2 years back, we had said that this is going to be the decade of innovation. Dr. Mashelkar talked about developing innovation-centric India. What does that mean? What is the implication? One definition of innovation, I think Dr. Mashelkar is very fond of giving, is that education converts Lakshmi into Saraswati. And you invest something goes on education and you get knowledge. And we have been doing that. But it is innovation which transforms Saraswati into Lakshmi. And we have not done that yet. And we have to learn to do that. When I saw this program, GTU Innovation Council, I am aware of National Innovation Council, which was announced by the Prime Minister under the leadership of none other than Sam Pitroda. And we have a National Innovation Council. We have sectorial innovation councils. And slowly state-level innovation councils are springing up. And we talked about developing innovation-centric universities. We talked about that. But nobody had a clue how to develop innovation-centric universities of tomorrow, if you have to compete with the world. But when I saw the GTU program, I got exposed to it as it unfolded before me in this function, in the documents. I think
for the first time, what should be a innovation-centric university, the idea has come from GTU. And GTU was the first dedicated for that. It's going away. For years together in technical education, I remember, as far as I can remember, I'm an engineer. I did my graduation way back in '65. And from that time onwards, we are talking about innovation, rather industry-academia collaboration, industry-academia interface. Many talks have gone, many discussions have been held, many conferences were held, but we have not been able to accomplish a process, a system, a methodology, what should we, how we should have industry-academia interface. I would say that on this occasion, after 65 years and seeing the struggle of developing this interface, for the first time we have a model in this country, not only in this country, as has been told that this model has not been even tried out internationally, and that's why it's of international significance. I think we have now a model of how academia industry interface should be established in the country. We had no clue before that. So Professor Agrawal, we really celebrate you for this reason. Really. Mrs. Shakuntala Agrawal, I think I'm really grateful for insisting that I must be here. Do your own innovative way, the way you did it, because this has been a great learning experience for me. It has been a learning experience for me. Swamiji, when I look at, I think this function has both the confluence of science and spirituality, often we talk about it. Who are the greatest innovators? Who were the greatest innovators of India? There are many, of course. But as we celebrate Sahardha Shatabdi, 150 years of Swami Vivekananda this year, to me, one of the greatest innovators of our motherland has been Swami Vivekananda, who gave a entirely new vision of India. Years later, 1893, in the Chicago lecture, when the World Parliament, by uttering just the invocation, my sisters and brothers of America, and give a new definition of religion to the world. And he put, just in 4 minutes, he was 20th speaker, I think, and just in 4 minutes, he put India once again on the world map. We have such great innovators. Mahatma Gandhi, I think he saw innovation does not occur only in technological process, products, processes, services, systems, pedagogy. Swami Mahatma Gandhi gave that vision of that non-violence can bring freedom to a nation. No one ever imagined that. There are several innovators of this kind. Innovations can happen. It should happen. And we are celebrating that spirit of innovation. Friends, when we talk of innovation, why does innovation create and how much it can create wealth for us? If at all we want to bring about transformation of the 21st century, we have a great vision. And I want to put that vision before you. And today, we are the third largest economy of the world in the PPP term, purchasing power parity terms. We are the third largest economy. The US, China, and then India. We never thought we'll overtake Japan, we'll overtake Germany, we'll overtake all the very European nations, but this happened in the last decade. But now really the journey begins. The world has taken notice. Recently a survey was done by none other than National Intelligence Agency of United States. They do a survey, who will be the nations that will rise in the 21st century. Because America is always afraid whether they will retain that leadership in the 21st century as they had in the 20th century, at least half of the 20th century. Who will be the leading nations of the world in the 21st century? And of course the signals are coming that they will not be the same as they have been in the last century. And the survey of the National Intelligence Report, which has come just a few weeks back, showed that in the coming decades, in the 30s, perhaps in the late 30s, and friends, my dear students, teachers here, innovators here, we must notice this. The signals are that by the end of 30s and the beginning of the 40s, India will overtake United States. That is the report of their government. How? We have to discover that. And they go on. They go on to state further, the report goes on to state further, that China will be, of course, ahead of the United States and perhaps the #1 nation of the world. But the report goes on to say that in the coming years, few years later, India will also overtake China in the 40s. Why I am saying this is, how will this happen? How will this happen? There are the incremental ways. We don't believe that this will happen because, as Rinmay rightly said, I must recall this incident to you. If you think the state of course, Gujarat, of course, showing the way. I think Gujarat is certainly showing the way. The world has taken the notice. We don't believe so much of corruption, so much of bhrashtachar, so many things, so much of poverty, so much of filth in this country, and how this nation will overtake the mighty nations like United States, and of course the European nations. We have already done that. How will this happen? The path is, friends, the way this will happen is through the route of innovation. That culture has not yet been created. If you have to unleash innovation, if it's innovation in all aspects of our thinking, and as Swamiji rightly said, in mindset, problem of India is really the mindset. Can we believe ourselves that we can do it? The slogan of that we can do it. If we believe ourselves and we can instill that confidence in our young students, we are going to do it. There is no question of that. Really, friends. The story goes like this. I think I have myself experienced again and again this story. That when we have started developing a supercomputer based on innovative architecture, when Rajiv Gandhi had asked me the question, we had come back from the United States, young Prime Minister, he asked me the question, and I had a dialogue with him when I was the Secretary of Electronics, and Mr. K.R. Narayan, who was the Minister of Science and Technology. He asked me 3 questions. I said, can we do it? He very softly asked me the question, can we do it? And I wanted to give a short answer. I said, I have not seen a supercomputer except for a picture. Because they were not accessible. You can't see them, you can't see the facilities. At that time it was very guarded technology. I said, based on my inner voice, I cannot say because I have not even seen it. I just see a picture of supercomputer by based on my inner voice and the inspirations of people like Dr. Bhabha, Homi Bhabha, Dr. Sarabhai. I can say that we can do it. That's the first answer. Second is how much time it will take. I've estimated that unless you do some innovation, out of box thinking, disruptive thinking, we cannot do it. And I had the idea of, and this is very important, I had the idea of that clustering. That if you can cluster together small computers which are widely available, which are commodity components, if you can cluster them together, we can harness the power of supercomputer from this cluster. I said based on the architecture, what was called parallel computing, but now it's called cluster computing, we can accomplish a supercomputer to be designed, which was called Paramdev. I said it will take about 3 years' time. Kind of, as I heard my rightly said that it took 3 years for us, from 85 years struggling. I said you are asking that computer for last 3 years we had taken just to get it into India. In 3 years' time, the entire technology could be developed based on that innovation. And he said, how much money? And I just wanted to, I had done some calculation along with my young team. I said at the cost of 1 supercomputer, the entire technology could be developed. This was, I think, why it is important is that clustering approach. You are trying to create clusters, 25 clusters. Every district, there will be clustering. Idea of clustering has been there for some time. But a university trying to create a clusters of innovation involving the academia, colleges, technical colleges or technology colleges, tomorrow all colleges of different kind, because the innovation is required at every level, and industry and society on the other side. And we harness, we create an ecosystem. We create a cloud, what is called cloud. We create a cloud of innovation, and from which will spring many new ideas. Ideas transform into maybe inventions, ideas transform into innovations, innovations transform into entrepreneurship, innovations transform into new industries. And what do you think magic can be done with this? Imagine when you look at Microsoft. Today when we look at Microsoft, today we look at Apple, today we look at Google, today I'm talking only IT, there are many innovations in all fields, I'm not mentioning other. We talk of Facebook. Somebody gets an idea, maybe college dropout, like Steve Jobs, like Bill Gates, like Mark Zuckerberg, or something like that now. And he transforms the idea into innovation, and from this creates an enterprise, creates a company, which can create wealth, which can create string of innovation, create wealth, which is equivalent to several nations put together. The power of innovation is, if you want to measure it. When you look at Apple, started in a garage, and later on, the whole story is not a story of to be seen. It's such a romantic story. It is such a turbulent story of a person. And we create Apple innovation starting from Mac to the iPods to the iPads, iPhones, and follow-on innovations. And one company, one idea can create wealth equivalent to what people have calculated, 66 countries GDP put together. Today we require one person here amongst with all people we have celebrated, youngsters we have celebrated who are creating new ideas along with the industry. Some people here who can create one idea that can transform entire India. Like it got freedom for us, like Swami Vivekananda put the name of our nation in front of the world. We require one such innovator, not one, we require some string of such innovators like this. So that's why it's so important. That's why it's so very critical for us. Swami Vivekananda had a dream. I think I can tell in front of Swamiji. This is, I think, unknown Swami Vivekananda's things. And as he was traveling after coming back from the United States across India, 1897, people asking, somebody asked him, Swamiji, you talk about philosophy, you talk about religion, you talk about the great civilization of India, but you are not talking about India's freedom. When will get India free? Swamiji said, pause. He said, India is not yet ready. But I can tell you, I can see that he made a prophecy. 50 years hence, India would get freedom in a very strange way, which we are not imagining. He talked about also communism, rise of communism and the fall of communism. But he said another prophecy. 100 years later, our motherland will create such prosperity which she has never seen in her entire history. And that comes to, I think, as we celebrate the centenary of freedom in the decade of 40s, 40s and 47. I think we are here. I think this is, very, to fulfill the message I want to give it to young people and to myself is that we have to fulfill this prophecy of Swami Vivekananda. 2047, India must be the #1 nation of the world and create prosperity. great prosperity which we have not seen. But there are challenges we made. Already we are the third largest economy of the world. In science and technology and many disciplines, with its space program, with its atomic energy program, whether there are any other supercomputing program, we are one of the top 5 nations of the world. There is no question of that. But now this journey is difficult. Because like you're running an Olympic race, or starting, as you go closer, as you go to this one, it's difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. And we've got great effort to accomplish that goal, to fulfill that prophecy. I want to say that when information technology began, I remember an invention of transistor in Bell Labs. You know, transistor in Bell Labs. And inventors got no Nobel Prize. But nobody saw that this is going to unleash a new revolution called electronics revolution. Today what we talk about information technology, etc., is that based on that transistor, idea of transistor, which came in a laboratory. We look at 1971, when Ted Hoff and team in Intel looks at why this whole computer cannot be put, who is designing the chips. Why I can just not designing chips for calculators, but I can put the entire PTP computer on a chip. And they came out with a microprocessor. And suddenly we had a magic device of the size of a nail, which you can program in your mind, and you can accomplish that function. We have a microprocessor, and you see the microprocessor revolution which came. When economics assessed in 1995, what has created, what invention, what idea created the largest wealth on this planet? And the answer came from many, many people that it was the coming of personal computer. That has created the largest wealth in the last century. The idea. Manifest is not great. During and given the idea, we knew that, but putting it in the form of before that, other computers had already come, home computers had come, but personal computer had created. Internet, the web. Nobody had idea when the idea actually was sprang for. The idea of web came to the CERN laboratories, and nobody knew that that is going to change. The way we communicate, the way we see the knowledge is encapsulated and access. These are the powers of innovation. These are the powers of innovation. I see how they can transform the civilization itself, transform into knowledge civilization. The idea that I would like to tell before you as a computer person, that who has thought, not even scientists, people working in electronics, telecom, that anything what you can cognate, see, touch, you can understand, can be represented in just 2 symbols. Binary symbol, 1 and 0. Anything, can you ever imagine? We know that any character, any number can be represented. Yes, of course we know. Boolean logic, we can represent any number, any text, any image, any graphics, any sound. What sounds were being made here, I think wonderful. I think that there is a whole, I want to tell you that I think there is a whole IEEE issue dedicated to signal processing and human sound. How amazing human sound is. And you are demonstrated that. I think there should be a special issue on you, how can create sounds like this. And we should do research on signal processing of your sounds. So, any sound, any color, not only that, we have not done that, any touch, any smell, any taste can be represented in a binary form. That's what we have seen through the convergence. Nobody imagined that this can be able to be done. And comes the digital technology which transforms the world. Comes the idea of digital computer, that we can process all this information, all this knowledge, and create economy. For India, it's very, very significant. 1971, we began the journey of electronics. When we formed the Electronics Commission, I had just come out of the IIT Delhi, and we started Electronics Commission, what should be done, what should be, we have so many ideas, we had so many difficulties in doing that. I had done a survey, like in Narora, this industrial state here. I had done a survey of the entire country, including Gujarat at that time, how much is electronics at that time in the country. Before we plan something, you see what it is now, and what is your vision for the future. 1971, The entire electronics production in this country was 100 crores, close to 100 crores, plus 71. All radios and small kind of televisions, black and white televisions, instrumentations, what we use in power plants and or industries, put together, broadcast equipment, 100 crores. I have seen this slide from 71, 72, look at 2012. These 4 decades, how much that industry is doing, if we count. Just few months back, information and communication technology today, ICT, I'm just including ICT put together, is 160 plus billion dollars. 100 crores to 10 lakh crores. And I don't know how you have to put so many zeros in that. This industry, I have seen the journey. We never imagined this will happen. We never imagined that we will have 99, 90, 98 crore mobile telephones in this country, telephones in this country. We could not make a call. We could make a call from Ahmedabad City, Baroda. We just could not make a call when I think you are all aware of these issues and those you have seen that generation. But for some scams and the setbacks, we have 3G and 2G, some 2G and now this one. I think telecom we have gone significantly ahead, but we have to begin the journey again in ICT. This is if we can do this, we have to do it in all fields. We have done it in automotive. Gujarat is trying to make a great automotive whole hub. Automotive field we thought we can never manufacture anything in this country. Sometime back there was a discussion at the Department of Electronics that we can't be out on software but we cannot do hardware. Can we do design chips, we can do this one, can we create hardware revolution in the country. But for the policies, if we can put the right policies, we can also bring in the hardware revolution in the country in all fields. These are the powers of innovation. But we have to create a full ecosystem, what we are talking about, at the school level. Innovation has to begin at the school level. And we don't have, entire education is examination centric. Entire engineering education is also examination centric. Copying the projects which have already been people created, and you know all that kind of thing. But you are changing all that thing. You are changing that. You are changing all that thing. Trying to create created Techpedia, and from that onwards, and there was of course Shodh Yatras, and then we have the grassroots innovation. All that you are bringing into engineering education, professional education in these things. This is an extremely important idea for transforming engineering education. 22 lakh students come out, polytechnics and engineering graduates. We have to engineer the future of this country, solve the problems of the industry, solve the problems of the nation. We have great ideas. We can go to the depth of the oceans, we can go to the Chandrayans and think of going to the Mars, but we are not able to solve problems of small transportation, green transportation in our country. We are not able to solve problems of great slums, the great cities of the, we have seen every city, one of the world's largest cities will be in India. Can we solve the problems of city planning, the slums of India, the problems of water which we are facing in Maharashtra and different parts of this one, problems of the pollution of Ganga and all the rivers of India and water bodies of which we should be ashamed of, problems of the environment, problems of our farmers who are committing our suicide, not able to create the right model, viable model for agriculture and farmers. All the distinguished people who are sitting here, I think we have to now encourage our youngsters, solve the problems as they emerge in our villages, in our schools, in our societies. Engineers should be problem solving. By definition, engineer must be a problem solving under constraints. He cannot say, I don't have money, government is not doing it, there are this problem or that. Engineer by definition must solve a problem under constraints, whatever the constraints they are. We have to create that culture. I think this idea of creating such an ecosystem, the GTU Innovation Council, the clusters, industry and academia are coming together, putting their ideas together. is a great idea, and of course celebrating those individuals. I like Hiranmay's idea one thing. He has said that innovation cannot thrive unless you have great disregard for authority. He has been constantly saying this. And that, anyway, but we have a great respect for teachers. We are also celebrating the teachers. One thing is going to happen is that we have to transform our teaching and teachers, and I like this idea of pedagogy, celebration with the teacher, teaching that. I think we have to create, I think that's one thing which we are lacking. That we have to create very innovative teachers, innovative teaching methodologies in this country. And that's what we, I think, the mission on teachers for India. Having said that, I will now conclude with this. That this Swami Vivekananda's dream was to see that India reclaiming her glory and prosperity and whatever thing. But he did not mean prosperity in the material sense. He meant prosperity in the larger sense. What is that? India should be now not a superpower. That we will accomplish in some way or the other. India should become Jagat Guru. That is the thing. What is the Jagat Guru? The new knowledge system. The new knowledge system, unless India creates a new knowledge system, India would not. Why we go to the United States? To get knowledge, to create an ecosystem of knowledge, which is not in India. We go to Stanford, we go to MIT, we go to Oxford, Cambridge earlier. Where I have a dream that students from United States and Japan should come to universities like GTU to learn something new. And this is what is going. Somebody says that we have not done that and we have to come to this one. Of course. I think you are trying to fulfill that dream. I think you are fulfilling that dream. So professors, the teachers here, the students, the innovators who have been brought in, all the distinguished people on this dais, I was very pleased that a Paryavaran Mandir can come on hazardous waste. Salute to you for really accomplishing that. So let that dream be fulfilled. When we create the Takshashilas and Nalandas of the past, where the princes and the monks came to study in India because we offered a knowledge system we never existed before. And that is the dream of tomorrow. Let us fulfill the promises and prophecy of Swami Vivekananda through our own ways, through our own Swadharma and Swakarma. And once again, I bow before all of you. Before you are trying to make that dream happen. Congratulations to all of you. And I welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bhatkar. That's what I told you, that let him describe his own words in his own way.